Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello my dear students, welcome back to Second Commerce Business Studies online classes. In last class, we discussed about the concept of capital structure. So what is capital structure? Capital structure is a mix between owner's funds and borrowed funds, right? So here, to know more about the concept of capital structure, especially optimum capital structure, we need to study the concept of financial leverage. What is that? Financial leverage. So financial leverage is the proportion of debt out of total capital. Proportion of debt out of total capital, that is called as financial leverage of a business concern. So financial leverage is also called as leverage or trading on equity. So how does financial leverage impact on the profitability of the business concern? To know about that concept, how the financial leverage of a concern, how it affects on the profitability of the business. To understand that concept, EBIT EPS analysis help the firm to know about the impact of financial leverage, how the financial leverage impact on its profitability. So to understand this EBIT EPS analysis of EBIT and EPS analysis, we need to take three different situations with the two different examples. One example is for favorable financial leverage and another example for unfavorable financial leverage. What is financial leverage? Financial leverage is the proportion of debt out of total capital. That concept is financial leverage. So to know the impact of financial leverage on the profitability, this EBIT EPS analysis helped the firm to know about that concept, and this analysis also helped the firm to find out earning per share of the company, earning per share, and to whether the firm is gaining good return on investment or not. Also this analysis helped the firm to find out earning per share and to know the impact of financial leverage on its profitability. So let's study the concept of EBIT and EPS analysis with three different situations with two different examples. So under the first example of company X, okay, so here given informations are total funds 30 lakh, interest 10%, tax rate 30%, EBIT, firm's EBIT is rupees 4 lakh, and three different situations. Already I told that to understand this analysis, we need to refer three different situations. Situation 1, under situation 1, debt is nil. It means unlevered business. Here no debt financing. The fund is completely raised through equity financing, that is 30 lakh. Total 30 lakh is also financed through equity. So for one share equal to rupees 10. So total share involved in this firm is 3 lakh. And situation 2, here debt is 10 lakh, remaining 20 lakh is financed through equity capital. So 20 lakh of rupees 10 per share is 2 lakh shares, and situation 3, debt financing is 20 lakh and remaining 10 lakh is from equity share. So let's analyze EBIT EPS analysis, how to find out EPS, earning per share, whether the firm is gaining good earning per share or not. So EBIT already given informations are given 4 lakh in 3 different situations. Interest is calculated on the debt amount. So in first case there is no debt, business is unlevered business, so nil, there is no payment of interest. And in second situation we have 10 lakh debt amount, so 10 lakh into 10 by 100 is 1 lakh, we have to deduct from 4 lakh from EBIT. And the third case, in third situation, firm have 20 lakh total debt and 20 lakh into 10 by 100, 2 lakh is the interest amount, we have to deduct it. So earning before tax, the firm's earning before tax is rupees 4 lakh. 4 lakh minus, here there is no interest amount, so as it is 4 lakh. And in next case 4 lakh minus 1 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh minus 2 lakh rupees, 2 lakh is the total earning. And next calculation is related to tax. So what is the tax amount here? On which we have to calculate tax? We have to calculate tax on the net income before tax. Earning before tax is rupees 4 lakh here. What is the percentage of tax here? 30%. So 4 lakh into 30 by 100, the final outcome is 1,20,000. And here 3 lakh total income, net income before tax, 3 lakh into 30 by 100 is 90 rupees. And here we have 2 lakh earning before tax, 2 lakh into 30 by 100 is rupees 60,000. The final outcome is 60,000. And after that we have to find out earning after tax, total net income of the business. How we can calculate? 4 lakh minus 1 lakh 20,000, 2 lakh 80,000, 3 lakh minus 90,000, 2 lakh 10,000, and here 2 lakh minus 60,000 is rupees 1 lakh 40,000. That is a net income after calculating tax and interest. Okay. So the next we have to find out earning per share of the company. Why we have to find out earning per share? To know the profitability of the concern, whether by using debt financing firm is gaining good amount of profit or not. To know about that, firm has to calculate earning per share. So to find out earning per share, we have to know about the total number of shares. So here in first case 3 lakh, already I mentioned here debt. In first situation there is no debt, complete 30 lakh is financed through equity. So 3 lakh. In second case 10 lakh from debt, remaining 2 lakh from equity, so remaining 20 lakh from equity, so 2 lakh is the total number of share. In third situation 20 lakh from debt and remaining 10 lakh from equity, so 1 lakh is total number of shares. So next we have to find out EPS, earning per share. So what is the formula to calculate earning per share? Earning after tax, this amount, earning after tax divided by number of share, So in first case earning after tax is 2,80,000 divided by total number of share is how much? 3 lakh. So final outcome is 0.93. Correct, right? 0.93. And in second case we have total income, earning after tax is rupees 2,10,000 and we have total, how much total number of share is there here? 2 lakh. So the final outcome is 1.05. And in third situation we have 1,40,000 as earning after tax. So and total number of shares we have 1 lakh. So the final outcome is 1,40,000. Okay. So here you can observe one thing, with increasing debt financing, the company's earning per share is also increases, right? With increased use of debt financing or with increased use of debt, here firm's earning per share is also increases. In first situation when firm is have unlevered, okay, there is no debt, the earning per share of the company is 0.93. Come to second situation with increased use of debt, that is 10 lakh debt, the company's earning per share is 1.05. And see in third situation with still increasing use of debt financing, that is 20 lakh, at that time the firm's earning per share is 1.40. How it is possible? Yes, to give answer for that question, we have to calculate return on investment. So return on investment, what is the formula to calculate return on investment? That is EBIT divided by total investment. Total investment into 100. It is the formula to calculate return on investment. So what is the total EBIT of the firm? Already given. EBIT is rupees 4 lakh. 4 lakh. So 4 lakh divided by total investment, how much? 30 lakh. 30 lakh into 100. What is the percentage? Yes, that is 13.33 percentage. 13.33 percentage, which is this 13.33 percentage is greater than 10 percentage. What is this 10 percentage? Of course, 10 percentage is the cost of debt, which is interest, that is the percentage of interest which is paying on the debt amount. So 13.33 is greater than 10%. So because of this reason, the difference between the cost of debt and the return on investment increases the earning per share of the company. When firm is having good return, when firm is raising cheaper source of debt, then firm can receive greater profit, right? So because of this reason, here earning per share is increasing because of return on investment is greater than cost of debt. Here cost of debt is cheaper than return on investment. It means company's inflow is greater than company's outflow. At that time company earns profit only, right? When income is greater than expense, it means company is earning good amount of profit. So here also company's return on investment is greater than company's cost of debt. Okay, so here cost of debt is available in a cheaper cost, so it benefited to gain more on investment. So because of this reason, company is gaining good amount of earning per share. With the higher usage of debt financing, firm is able to gain more earning per share. So this situation, this is a situation of favorable financial leverage. This situation is called as favorable financial leverage. And in this case, in this situation, firms are raising more cheaper source of debt financing because return on investment is greater. Firm can raise cheaper debt financing. So through that firm can raise its earning per share. So the in such cases company raise higher debt financing, and this process is called as trading on equity. This process of financial concept is called as what? Trading on equity. During the period or in trading on equity is a financial process or financial activities in which debt gaining or debt produces the revenue for the shareholder. Debt produces during the period of trading on equity, favorable trading on equity. At that time debt produces gain for the shareholders, some revenue for the shareholders, because by using debt financing, earning per share is also increases, and also return on investment is also greater than the cost of debt. So this situation is called as favorable financial leverage. When return on investment is greater than the cost of debt, that situation is called as a favorable financial leverage. In that situation, firm uses or raises more cheaper debt. This process is called as trading on equity. So trading on equity always generate or gain or produces gain to the shareholders. This is about favorable financial leverage. And the next case, we have to understand the concept of unfavorable leverage also. Unfavorable financial leverage. What exactly unfavorable financial leverage is? Same, we can consider one more, we can take one more example of company Y with the same detail, but except the amount of EBIT. In first case, we considered EBIT as 4 lakh. Here, EBIT is rupees 2 lakh. Total funds is 30 lakh, interest amount is 10% and interest percentage 10%, tax is 30% and EBIT is rupees 2 lakh. Same in situation 1, debt is nil. Situation 2, debt is 10 lakh, remaining 20 lakh from equity. Situation 3rd, debt is 20 lakh and rest 10 lakh is from equity. So how to calculate here, how to find out EPS? Same procedure. EBIT in first case 2 lakh, second case 2 lakh, and third case is also 2 lakh, and interest amount is nil because business have unlevered. Business don't have any debt, so business is unlevered business. So nil, we know not supposed to calculate any interest here. And next case, 10 lakh total debt into 10 by 100 is 1 lakh rupees total interest. And next third situation, we have 20 lakh debt, 20 lakh into 10 by 100, 2 lakh is total interest amount. So after that we have to find out earning before tax, total earning before calculating tax, that is amount 2 lakh minus 0. Here there is no interest amount, 2 lakh as it is. Here 1 lakh 2 lakh minus 1 lakh amount, and here 2 lakh minus complete 2 lakh. Out of we have 2 lakh as EBIT, and the total interest amount is also 2 lakh, because we have in that situation we have 20 lakh debt financing. So 20 into 10 2 lakh, by 100 into 2 is 2 lakh. So here nil, there is no income. And after that we have to calculate or tax amount at 30%. So tax will be calculated on earning before tax. So in this first situation we have 2 lakh earning, 2 lakh into 30 by 100, okay, 2 lakh into 30 by 100. So 60,000 is the final amount, right? Final outcome, right? And after that 10 lakh we have, 1 lakh we have earning into 30 by 100. What is the final outcome? 30,000. And in next third situation, third, there is no income. So here we are not supposed to calculate any tax also, so nil amount. And after that we have to find out earning after tax. What is the earning after calculating tax? In first situation 2 lakh minus 60, 1 lakh 40,000, 1 lakh 30 minus 1 lakh minus 30, 70,000. Here no income, so nil. Okay, and after that now we have to find out earning per share. So to find out the earning per share, what we need total number of shares. So number of shares in first case 3 lakh, because in first case here there is no debt, so total 30 lakh is raised through equity only. So first value of the share is rupees 10, so total number of share is 3 lakh. And in next case 10 lakh is from debt, 20 lakh we raised through equity, so 2 lakh. And in third situation 20 from debt and remaining 10 from equity, So we have 1 lakh total shares. Now calculate EPS. So to calculate, what is the formula to calculate EPS? Yes, earning after tax divided by number of shares. So in first situation, we have total earning of rupees 1,40,000 divided by 3 lakh. The answer is 0.47. And in second situation, we have 70,000 as total income divided by number of share is 2 lakh, so 0.35. And in next case, there is no income, there is no net after earning after tax, so there is nil. Okay, so now you can find out the changes compared to the case company X and company Y. In company X, with increasing use of debt, company's earning per share is also increases, right? With increases use of debt, company's earning per share is also increases. But here you can find out with increasing use of debt, company's earning per share is also reduces. Why? So to know this reason, we have to find out, or we have to calculate what that is return on investment. Based on the return on investment, based on the percentage of return on investment, we can judge about whether firm is gaining good amount of profit or not. So EBIT divided by total investment into 100, right? So EBIT divided by total investment into 100. So we have 2 lakh as EBIT. Total investment is 30 lakh into 100. So what is the percentage now? 6.67, right? 6.67, which is greater or lesser than the cost of debt? Right, which is lesser than 6.67 is lesser than the cost of debt. See here the cost of debt is remains same, that is 10%, but return on investment is very less compared to the cost of debt. Here the firm is gaining only 6.67 as return on investment, whereas company has to pay 10% on debt amount. So here in the second example, company's outflow is greater than company's inflow, means company's expenses is greater than its revenue. So this situation is called as unfavorable financial leverage. In this situation, companies are not advised to raise more debt because company's return on investment is very less. Here the cost of debt is high compared to cost or return on investment. This situation is called as what? Unfavorable financial leverage. Understood, right? So even in case of company X, or in case of first case company X, reckless use of trading on equity is not advisable, because of course firm can collect cheaper debt financing, but when the firm is using high debt, it also focus on increasing financial risk, right? Burden of fixed financial charges also increases. So according to the requirement of fund, firm has to decide about the debt financing. So financial manager has to take more care while selecting the source of fund, and deciding about the proportion of debt and equity. A financial manager has to verify each and every factor very carefully. After analyzing each and every factor, then only manager can decide about the proportion of debt and equity. In case of favorable financial leverage, firm can utilize more debt financing. In case of unfavorable financial leverage, that usage of financial leverage is not advisable, because in case of unfavorable financial leverage, earning per share is reducing or falling with the increased usage of debt financing, right? Here 0.47, 0.35, here nil. There is no income at all. Earning per share completely declining. When firm is using or increasing the usage of debt, firm's EPS is also falling. So this situation is called as what? Unfavorable financial leverage. So by analyzing each and every factor carefully, then only financial manager can decide the proportion of debt and equity. So the decision of a financial manager should focus on maximizing the shareholders' wealth of the business, maximizing the shareholders' wealth. So decision about the decision which is relates to the proportion, selecting the proportion of debt and equity is very important factor to each and every organization, because capital structure affects both profitability and financial risk of the business concern. Thank you for watching this video.